Hi everybody. Well, for those of you who are here to hear about the dog story, I'm going to try to keep it as short and sweet as possible. For those who know about it already, I'll give a brief recap, and for those who don't, um, if I don't get hit right here by this truck that doesn't seem to be stopping, backing up, didn't even try to stop. Some stupid woman needs her ass kicked and will get it kicked if she hits me. I know who she is. Okay. I'm being Miss Badass right now. Pulling out of the liquor store, backing up across the parking lot, a mini mall parking lot, backing up right straight down the middle of the parking lot, coming out of this liquor store, not even looking to see if any other cars are coming by. I'm sure she had to get her liquor home and drink it as quickly as she could. Right here in the middle of the afternoon. Okay, rant over. On to the dog story. Okay, my ex, the narcissist, when we got together, he didn't want me to have my little house dog. He didn't want me to bring my house dog with him when I moved in with him. And because I was under this brainwashed spell, I ended up leaving my dog with a family member. Thankfully, I had someone who was willing to take care of her, and I didn't stay with him long enough for it to really be like I abandoned her or anything. I saw her regularly, and I was hoping that maybe once had been living there for a while, that I would just gradually start bringing her around, and he would get used to the idea, because he wasn't there that much. He worked so long, and the only time he was there was during the early morning hours up until the afternoon when he had to get up and go back to work. So, but anyway, that's my part of the story. Now, years go by, we're no longer together, we're no longer seeing each other or anything. And of course, he's hoovered me on and off, and all that's happened. All of you who know the adjectives to describe narcissism know that we were in the no contact phase at this point. I find out that he'd gotten married to someone else, another woman completely altogether different, who I had no idea about. Within a matter of weeks of the last contact that I had with him, I found out on social media that he's gotten married. And I went through that whole what in the H-E-double, just happened and all that. And it's a phenomenon that is talked about often on YouTube, on the Narcissism channels, that you go through this period of jealousy and resentment and pain all over again. You feel almost like you've been discarded all over again, and you wonder what this person had that you didn't have, and etc. But as time went on, and I found out who this woman was, and that she and I share quite a few mutual friends, I questioned why I didn't know her prior. And also because we have one really good mutual friend between us that I would see her commenting on stuff. And not long after I found out that these two people had gotten married, she starts posting about her little house dog going missing. And I kind of maybe in the back of my mind had a little suspicion that maybe he just, I didn't really give it a whole lot of consideration that he could have been behind it. But now, a month or two goes by and the dog is returned to her. Someone, she was sharing the pictures all over social media and everything like that. And the dog comes home, and it wasn't even a month or two till the dog went missing again. It's been quite a long time since this happened. I would say over a year. And just very recently, a dog similar looking to this dog was located very, very near this woman's home. And at first, everyone was sharing the picture of the dog on social media, and she had made some comments that it was her dog, that she had relatives and people helping her to try to go to where the dog was located and get it. And everyone was asking her, did you get your dog? Did you get your dog? And at first she was saying no, that she was unable to get it, and that she wasn't even really sure if it was hers because it wouldn't come close enough. And then all social media about all that just stopped. There was no more talk about it. Now, Ben, knowing what I know about him, knowing what I know, and the way that he was toward my dog, and I now understand it now that it didn't have anything to do with him not liking dogs. It had to do with the fact that he didn't want, he wanted to isolate his supply away from everything and everybody, including the pets. And some people might say that sounds a little far-fetched. Well, if you've never been the victim of a narcissist to the point that you learn their tricks and their behavior, and you absolutely question your sanity because of the way that they manipulate you and treat you, and the tricks and the depths that they will go to create a scenario where, you know, they get to either play the hero, or they get to play the victim, or they get all the attention put on themselves. He didn't want me to keep my dog because he didn't want me to have anything to love other than him. And the same probably holds true with this woman, because as I learned, and I know no contact is the rule, but sometimes you can't avoid seeing posts that other people post about stuff. And intuition, and my intuition has honed 199% since all this happened to me. I pick up on signals and red flags, not even my own, but other people's, faster than I ever did before. And every time I see anything involving him or her, and I haven't seen anything involving him in a while, but everything I see involving her, I question it right away because I question him being behind it. And the fact that she has absolutely isolated from her own kids, at least the oldest one that I know of, no longer has anything to do. They no longer, well, they may now that he's out of the picture, because from what I understand, they are not together anymore. And from what I understand through a mutual friend's comments, there was quite a bit of drama and quite a bit of some legal stuff that went down between the two of them. And then all of a sudden the dog shows back up. And then all of a sudden the story about the dog and all the comments from everybody, and people are no longer sharing the picture of the dog running loose and asking, does anyone know whose dog this is? Leads me to believe that she's got the dog, but she may have taken it and taken it to someone else's home to keep until she can be sure. But she probably doesn't want him to know that she got the dog back, because she's probably scared that it will end up going missing again. And she may have picked up on it by now, you know. She might have finally got it. She might have finally figured it out for herself. And it may even have been that she was told and had learned some truths about that. And that may be the reason why the dog showed back up. Because I have my suspicions that he probably gave the dog to somebody, told them, here, I found this dog, you can have it. And then they come to learn that it was a stolen dog and didn't want to be considered a dog napper, so they took it back to an area where they had a pretty good idea that it would be seen by people that know her. Or it could just be that he had the dog hidden away somewhere. A friend or family member said he went and got it, you know. I don't know, but it's not a coincidence in my opinion. And I might sound like a conspiracy person, because I am, especially when it comes to a narcissist and their dirty, underhanded, conniving, deceitful tricks. They're not past, and I had my suspicions that the dog would never come back, because I had my suspicions that the dog was no longer alive. And narcissists will go that far. That could have been his next step, had the dog returned. And if he was still with her and the dog returned, that could have been his next step. To create so much pain and just emotional, turmoil in her, that he gets to play hero and he gets to be the one that comforts her, because he doesn't want anybody else around her. He's driven wedges between her and her friends, her and her family members, her own children, his children. And there's no restrictions on what they will do. There's no restrictions on how far they will go. I mean, we sit here, you who are hearing me, and even me as I'm saying this, have a hard time even really believing it, the thoughts that I'm thinking. But it's true. It's hard for us as rational, decent, hopefully decent people to even consider that they would do something like that to an animal or even to a person. But we know that it happens. They're evil, and maybe animals pick up on that more. Animals pick up on bad vibes, But it's my full belief that if she did get the dog, she's keeping it quiet because she doesn't want anybody to know. And that may have been the reason why she posted that, I'm not sure if it's my dog, I couldn't get it to come to me or whatever. Because maybe she doesn't want anybody to know. And I would be the same way. I would have mine in protective custody, away from him. But I wish I had more to tell about, the outcome of it. But that could be part of the reason why she's not talking, because she just doesn't want it getting out. Not that he, comes around me or anything, and I wouldn't want to have a conversation with him at all, but that's just my intuition and my instincts telling me, there's a whole lot more to it. And that's what narcissists will do. And for those of you who did come over from Facebook, who follow CMC's story, you know how dirty and underhanded she is. She's told people her own child got burnt in a horrible accident, had to go to a burn unit in Tennessee. And this woman sends her money, and that night she's on social media, on Facebook, living it up. And this woman's like, why aren't you at the hospital with your child? She blocks her. And then she tells all of her followers, this person's crazy. They're making all this stuff up that's never happened. I never said that. It was somebody else's child that got burnt. And I shared it, and they assumed it was mine. And that's about as dirty and deep and low down as a person can go, other than claiming somebody died. And even when somebody does die and they try to get money for themselves out of that, that's not even as dirty and underhanded as saying that your own child got seriously injured and burned, and then using people for money for that. And that's just how dirty they are. And that's not even the dirtiest trick she's probably ever pulled. It's not the dirtiest trick she probably will pull in the future. And but to follow up and to wrap this up about the dog, that's really all I can say as of right now, is that it's not a coincidence that the dog been gone for over a year and shows back up in an area close to where this woman lives at the same time that, from what I have been told, which is hearsay, but I pretty much believe everything that I hear about this, because knowing him the way that I did, at the same time that she's possibly taken a restraining order against him and legal action, and is pretty much accusing him of theft and other things. And I just want to say this real quick. If he stole from her, as she has said, he didn't do it for money, because he's got a really good job. And it's like somebody dropped a letter on the ground. He's got a good job, and he didn't steal anything from her to sell or to get money out of the way some people might do. If he took anything from her, it was because he either claimed that he paid for it and he bought it and it was something that was his, or he just did it to have her beg for it back, or to be able to say, make a deal with me on this item or whatever. Because I don't know, but I'll just say this to wrap this up once again. There's nothing that they won't do. There's nothing as underhanded and dirty and tricks that they won't pull to create things the way they want them, And that's pretty much all I have to say. I know you all are already aware of that about narcissists, but I just wanted to share that because there's something going on there. There's something definitely going on concerning that dog. And if I hear any more follow-ups about it, I'll share. But as of right now, if she has the dog and she's not telling anybody because of him and the fear that he could come back and retaliate, I don't blame her. I wouldn't tell anybody either. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And for those who don't like that I don't appear on camera and have comments to make about it, thank you for listening too.